Hello, Rama Pupoda. Hope all are in good health, feeling great, peaceful, having a relaxed life. Now let's go to chapter 32. Part 2, Ramdas chat with Ram. The interior of the hut was dimly lit by the log fire. The host left Ramdas and returned with a wide-mouthed cup of hot milk and a soft roti, which he minced and mixed with the milk. Meanwhile, he picked up some white things from a full basket close by and offered them to Ramdas. Eat them, he said. Ramdas pressed them between his fingers and felt them soft. In the dim light, he could scarcely make out what these pieces were. Ramdas put a piece into his mouth. It was so delicious to the taste. The host, it is khan, a root that you are eating. It is boiled. We obtain it in these parts in plenty. Ramdas. Ramji, Ramdas would prefer to eat 2 more pieces of this root and must be excused with regard to roti and milk. No, no, he lovingly remonstrated. You shall have both. You may do justice to as much khan as you like, but you ought to drink also milk, in which I have mixed up roti. Ramdas had to drink milk thickened with roti, as also eat some more bits of khan. Then all the inmates had their evening meal. Far into the night, the happy talk of God, Bhakti, Prem, and Anand went on. The host was all the while in ecstasy. After a couple of hours' sleep, Ramdas awoke in the morning and started on his journey. The host was inconsolable. With tears in his eyes, he appealed to Ramdas to stay with him a day longer. But Ram's command to Ramdas to leave the place was imperative. He gave a parting embrace to the kind host when he said, You see, higher up on the hills, a small patch. It is a group of huts. Keeping the sign in view, walk up towards it. You might reach there at midday, and the hospitable people of the village will look to your wants. Traversing through forests and valleys, Ramdas reached the village when the sun had risen overhead. Here too, the villagers treated him with the greatest hospitality. After meal, he set out again. The old man of the village said, Maharaj, you have yet to cover a distance of about 10 miles. There is no footpath, nor are there any villages on the way. If you venture alone, God only should be your guide. I can only show you the direction in which you have to go. He pointed out with his forefinger the direction, and Ramdas tramped on. After walking about a mile, he found himself in a dense jungle, the ground being covered with dry leaves. Almost knee-deep, he waded through them. He was in fact going on at random, but he was in a talkative mood. He addressed Ram, Divine Mother, it is yourself who have brought this child here to roam on these sacred hills. It is up to you to lead and guide him. As he walked on, he came upon a sloping hill. Here he discovered at the edge of a cliff, a cave, a deep hollow in a rock. He peeped into it. It was utterly dark inside. He had heard that such caves were usually lairs of wild beasts. He thought that he had now an opportunity of getting darshan of Ram in the form of a tiger or lion. He jumped into the cave and shouted out, Hurry home 3 times, and waited the result. None came out of the cave. It was Ram's will that he should not come face to face with wild beasts. He came out. There was yawning before him a deep precipice. This had to be climbed down. Now, Ram, what do you propose? Asked Ramdas. Fear not, child. Descend, was Ram's cool reply. Ramdas turned round and slowly lowered himself and began to crawl down. The chicks on the rough crack serving as foot and hand holes, he descended. A slight slip meant a fall of over 200 feet and certain destruction of the body. But there was Ram's assurance. Fear had taken leave of Ramdas once for all. Slowly and steadily, step by step, he got down. The body on Ramdas seemed to be like an inflated rubber doll, so light and so buoyant. Breathing had automatically stopped. The fragile foot supports had at times been trembling, sending down bits of stone layers through the pressure of the foot, producing by their fall reverberating sounds at the depths of the valley below. What time it took him to reach the bottom of the ravine, he had no idea. It all appeared to be so short. He at last alighted at the base of the rock quite safe. Here again he cried out at a high pitch, "Hurry home!" making the giant hills all around resound with the echo. Ramdas exclaimed, "Ram, how glorious you are! You have made Ramdas perform a most marvelous feat." Ram rejoined, "This is not all. More feats are in store for you. Get ahead." Ramdas continued his journey in the cool shade of the titanic trees. Ramdas. Oh Ram, how blessed is Ramdas to be conscious of your company with him, even in this lonely place. My child, Ram assured Ramdas, you shall in future be always aware of my presence with you, in you and everywhere about you. I grant you this knowledge based upon your perfect oneness with me. You and I are one. Ramdas, hearing this, laughed through intense joy. Half a mile was past. Now he came to the brink of another precipice, more steep than the previous one, but with no footholds of any kind for climbing down. It was a smooth, flat rock running vertically down. Looking at it, he giggled and said, Ram, now you're caught. Ramdas should like to know how you're tackling the affair now. Soft, soft, instantly put in Ram. No doubt you're clever, but I'm more clever than you can ever imagine. Look to your right. There, the ground slopes down. Through the incline is sharp and slippery. Try that way. Ramdas stepped towards it and, dancing a caper or two, laughed and spoke. Ram, you are a brick, but it won't do. You see, the slope is not only sharp, but is covered by loose earth. To put the foot on it is to slip, and Ramdas will then be rolling down like a folded mattress until he reaches the bottom. You like it, eh? Ramdas, your laugh and poses are too early, observed Ram. You don't seem to make use of the eyes which I have given you. Look well. On the incline, you will discover stumps of dried grass at some distance from each other. These are the roots of thick reeds, and being dry, they cannot be distinguished from the earth. But a close scrutiny will reveal them to you. They are strong enough for supporting your feet. Descend without any delay. Ram was right. They were roots. Ramdas, accordingly, going on all fours, crept down, having the dried stumps of grass as foot rests, one after the other, until he reached nearly the end of the incline, beyond which there was again a steep chasm. The incline being no longer continuous, the situation in which he was now placed was supremely perilous. He had arrived at about 2 yards from the extreme edge of the slope, and a yard down there was only a faint mark of a stump visible, which could support no more than a toe. Having stopped here, Ramdas asked, Now Ram, what next? Ram was ever ready with his cues. He piped in, Behold, child, a twig peeping out of the depths just on the edge of the slope. It is about half an inch thick. Reach it by your feet, descending a yard down by the help of a small root of grass. After that, you will know what to do next. Ramdas followed Ram's instructions and had his left toe and finger clutching the twig like a monkey. Certainly here, Ramdas remembered Hanuman, the great devotee of Sri Ramachandra. The body was felt by Ramdas light as a feather. With one foot thus holding on to the twig, he let go the other from the grass root. For a few seconds, his whole body was balanced on one foot. Ramdas now shrank himself and, doubling up, held on the twig with his hands all the time, and slender twig was oscillating to and fro most ominously. Here he looked down. The depth below was tremendous, but hurrah! Ram, you are a miracle monger. The twig on which Ramdas was resting belonged to a tall tree starting from the very base of the precipice. He descended slowly and gradually came upon the stouter branches of the tree. Now the descent became easy. The tree was a veritable giant of the forest, a tree so tall that Ramdas had never seen the like of it before. He at last reached the bottom. Now Ram had his laugh at Ramdas' expense. Ramdas was silent. Every time he was bitten, Ram would have the upper hand. Again Ramdas lighted upon a cave into which he entered and shouted out a loud outcry of Hari Om. But there was no response. Thenceforth he had to pass through many a declivity, but easily he was now running at full speed, frisking and dancing on the rocks. At last he found himself suddenly again on the banks of the Ganges. Here he had to execute a small feat on the edge of a rock projecting into the river. On the sandbank he sped on until he reached Pulchetti. In Pulchetti there was a dharmashala managed by the Punjabi sadhus. When Ramdas ran towards the building, a young sannyasi welcomed him with open arms. He actually took Ramdas in the folds of his arms and embraced him heartily, as if he had met a long lost brother or child. He took Ramdas inside the dharmashala, seated him on an asan, shampooed his legs for some time, and fed him sumptuously with infinite love. Ram, it is all thy doing, thou eternal love, manifest everywhere. From Pulchetti the same evening, Ramdas walked up to Swarga Ashram, now only at a distance of 2 miles, which he reached before dark. That's all, folks. Let's see in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Pupoda.